Hello YouTube, and welcome back to another Steven Universe vlog. I'm your friendly Grumpetier, and today's episode is Back to the Kindergarten. And in this episode, of the events of the last previous episodes, Peridot is still bathtub living in the bathtub in Steven's house. And Steven, he can't go for that, no can do. So, he has the idea that maybe him and Amethyst and Peridot should go to the kindergarten. Maybe that'll cheer Peridot up, because Peridot can talk about all the things she knows and that Steven and Amethyst don't. And so they go to the kindergarten, look around for a bit. Peridot, drops some knowledge bombs, and they see a flower growing. They see a flower growing in the kindergarten. And this gives Peridot a little bit of hope. She loves farming a lot, and maybe there's a chance that things can grow in the now dead husk that she calls the kindergarten. So they take some sunflowers, they water them and everything, they plant them, and everything seems to be going fine, even though, as any gardener knows, the first day that you plant a plant, of course it's alive, because you just planted it in the ground. That's not how gardening works, but it's sweet in this episode, so don't worry about it. And when they come back the next day, unfortunately, all the flowers and sunflowers are dead. Peridot's really upset by this, and thinks that there's nothing that can grow on this disgusting planet. Nothing's going to go well, and that eventually sort of deteriorates into her yelling and screaming about Lapis leaving, which makes her crush the little flower that she saw in the first place that inspired her frenzy to start growing things. And it turns out that that flower was a big old bulb monster. They kill the bulb monster, and Peridot and them all just sort of go home, and Peridot thinks, maybe this place isn't as bad as I thought it was. Now that Lapis is gone, I can find other places to farm. Now, I don't know why Peridot can't farm at her farm. That barn that she has where all the crops are growing. Didn't Lapis only take the barn, part of the barn, and not the crops? The answer is yes, but I digress. If it helps the story. This was an alright episode. Nice to see the three of them back together. I like as I've said before, I like the chemistry between Amethyst and Peridot. And, it was, nice enough to see them exploring the kindergarten and all that, especially after the events of what happened. And I really do like, as anti-Steven Universe fan as this sounds, I really do like an episode with the kindergarten that isn't heavy. That isn't about, oh, look at this terrible secret we unveiled at the kindergarten. Nah. I'll be honest, when I saw the title for this episode, after the credits, the title pops up, Back to the Kindergarten, I'm like, no, please. But it was just, chilled in the kindergarten. They grew some flowers. It was nice. I'm really happy that they didn't go for remember that Wanted special we had a few episodes ago? And remember that continuing storyline we have between Lapis and also Connie? Let's layer on some more kindergarten stuff. No, Shrek, I don't want no parfait onion layers. I ain't for that. I'm happy that they just sort of went with the simplistic route in trying to provide therapeutic respite for Peridot after what happened. And it was nice, as I said, it was nice to see them all working together, being buddies in that. And I do like that they showed the vulnerability, what was that word? The vulnerability of Peridot, I don't know what I just tried to say. The Elmer Futterability, the vulnerability of Peridot, especially after something like the Lapis thing. We know that she was upset based on the episode, but we don't really know the extent of her upsetness. Wow, I am really Webster's today, aren't I? We really don't know the extent of how upset she is over the issue. The upsetness of her upsetity. The upsetness of the upsetities upsets the inequities of the besequities is just the way that this episode works. And I hope you understand that, because that's totally real English. Of course, always great to see, those episodes where they take a minute and talk about the beauty of Earth. And not just, Earth is great and we should protect it. This was a nice episode, especially at the end, is what I refer to, when they're all in the train car, and Peridot's just sort of looking out at these nice little wild sunflowers, and she's like, yeah, Earth is cool. I can chill with Earth. We're nice, we got a streak. It sort of relates back a bit to romantic literature, if you'll get into me being, this relates to Nathaniel Hawthorne and Mary Shelley. But it really does relate back to romantic literature in the way that they would talk about nature as if it were this beautiful, amazing thing. And if you think about it, and I've never thought of this before until just now, but Steven Universe does divulge a lot and take from romantic literature in the way that it perceives Earth and nature. And I really do like the way that it does perceive Earth and nature as not only a character in and of itself, but a beautiful character that everybody respects and actually cherishes a lot. People will go through great lengths, as we saw in this episode, to spread the existence of this great being, that being nature. And that is something that it relates a lot and was a prevalent theme in romantic literature. You know, if you look back and read books like that of that era, you know what I'm talking. You don't want me to get into like the book of Frankenstein is a great example, but I've never really related to that before. But Steven Universe is a really good example of romantic literature. I mean, obviously it's not literature, but I guess romantic, the genre of romance, that being classical romance, not a dude and a guy or whatever. Anyway, I digress. I will see you guys in the next vlog. Good episode. Bye bye.